Once upon a time, there was an accomplished detective. Except that she had decided to retire, pack it in, because there was one mystery she could not solve.
What was that?
How to mend a broken heart.
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV, from musicals to bottle episodes to a musical noir induced through an experimental substance use. Ooh, cool. I love drugs. I'm one of your hosts, Derek B. Gale.
And I'm David Arnold. And who's joining us today?
Well, hi, hello. It's me. I'm back again. Hi, it's Merrilee. Hello.
Merrilee, welcome back. It's so great to have you back on the Gimmicks podcast.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be back. It's so lovely. What a lovely space to be in.
Yes, it's been far too long, too. And it was so important to get you on for this one because I know how big of a fan you are of the show we're talking about, because we are talking about Fringe Season 2, Episode 19, entitled Brown Betty.
What an episode.
What an episode, Merrilee.
What an episode.
What an episode. I was telling Merrilee right before we started the record that this is my first episode of Fringe. And I think, great reaction from you on that this was a wild place to start.
Yep. Listen, I think that episodes like this are a great place to start. I know that it's weird, but it is its own self-contained story. And the fact that, Walter is narrating it means that you kind of get an idea of who every person is, at least through, the character of them that appear in the story. Yeah. So it is a wild place to start, but also it is a good starting place. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It works.
I'll be interested as we get to it. I have a couple of predictions of what I think are actually season or maybe even series-long conflicts that I feel like were alluded to in this. And you can tell me how wrong I am.
Yeah. I mean, surely searching for a glass heart that is definitely a major part of the show going forward. Lots of, the invention of hugs and rainbows and licorice sticks. That's pretty much at the core of the show.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think a father who steals children's dreams is a nice, easy metaphor for someone who took Freudian psychology in college.
Honestly, I mean, that is kind of what a core of the show is about, is a guy who steals children's dreams, technically.
So. Yeah. Listen, it all works. It's a complicated metaphor, but it works.
Well, for folks who are listening who are like me and are kind of new to Fringe, this was created by J.J. Abrams, Alex Kurtzman, and Roberto Orci. And it is the post-Lost J.J. Abrams next series that came up from this creator. Of course, Lost is something that I think a lot of folks are familiar with. We've covered it on Gimmicks, pretty significant cultural phenomenon. The TV series of Fringe followed the casework of the Fringe Division, a part of the FBI that includes Agent Olivia Dunham, Dr. Walter Bishop, and Walter's estranged son, Peter Bishop, who assists him in the lab. The team investigates cases relating to, quote, fringe science. So I gotta start here. Merrilee, Derek, this synopsis really saying X-Files to me, but it's not, right?
No,
it is definitely
no.
not the X-Files.
Yeah. I mean, I think because it definitely was, pitched as that in the early days of the show, for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think that you can definitely see some X-Files DNA in the early days of it. Mm-hmm. But I think even from the get-go, it was always like X-Files in there are FBI agents, searching for investigating paranormal things, but that kind of is where it stops.
Yeah.
At the X-Files thing,
I truly, and from the bottom of my heart, think that the things that Fringe has in common with the X-Files it is basically the same things it has in common with any other procedural TV show.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very much more a sci-fi driven story than it is anything having to do with the X-Files. There's no really big there is a conspiracy, but it's not the way that you think. It's very difficult to explain.
Well, and what I liked is that there's this corporate intrigue associated with this, because what we see in this episode and what is part of the series is that the work of the Fringe science investigation team sometimes crosses over with that of this advanced biotech company named Massive Dynamic, which was founded by Walter's former partner, Dr. William Bell, and is run by Nina Sharp, who is another character that we see in the show.
Okay, so the thing about Massive Dynamic that I am always reminded of now every time I think about it is there was like this Twitter post, or it could have been like a Tumblr that was on Twitter, or Twitter that was on Tumblr. You know how they steal things on the internet. Anyway, it was somebody who was talking about how they wanted to act like a queer-coded villain, but like no actual villainy involved. Everything was just like slightly menacing, but they were all totally above board the whole time.
Huh.
And like it always makes me think about Massive Dynamic, because as the further you go into the series, spoiler alert, but you'll find out that Massive Dynamic, the company, and Nina Sharp herself are actually always on the side of the team. They just act really shady for no reason.
It's actually, honestly, that's so true.
Wait, no, I love that.
Yeah.
So they're just like, they're menacing by accident? They're just sort of...
I think they're menacing because they are a giant corporation.
Okay.
And they have to protect their assets and stuff like that. And so they have to be very secretive because of that. And also, I think it is also just the vibes. Like, I think it is just Blair Brown just like sitting at her desk with her red hair and just being like, well, I'm going to spout something that sounds vaguely Shakespearean and a very roundabout way to tell you this information that it could have just told you straight away. But you're a smart detective, Dunham. You can figure it out.
That's actually a really excellent Nina Sharp impression, by the way.
Thank you.
Or you're just channeling chaotic bisexual? Because that's the energy I got in this episode.
Sure.
I think it might have been the fedoras. I don't know what was going on with this episode.
Yeah.
The thing about Massive Dynamic, and again, I cannot overstate this, is especially if you're watching, if you only see like the first season or like even the first half of the first season, you will not believe me when I tell you that they are not the bad guys of the show. They so heavily like start to build up Massive Dynamic as like this bad guy force. And Nina Sharp and William Bell are involved in events that are going on. But they are not telling Olivia and the Fringe team information, not just because they're involved in evil. It's because they know too much and are trying to like segment where the information is going. It's not that they're bad guys, mostly.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of have to go out of their way at certain points in like later seasons to be like, well, the timeline's different, so that's how we can justify them doing shady stuff now. Like they almost have to go above and beyond to like let them do villainous-ish things because they really are not actually the villains. And it is so funny. It's so funny.
It really is. Especially after the timeline shifts, Olivia is never going to think Massive Dynamic is the bad guy no matter what they imply, because again, spoiler alert, in the Amber timeline, Nina was basically Olivia's mom. Like, she raised her.
It's wild.
Wow.
Wild thing that they did. It is the kind of show that is like, I feel like at this point in the show, like where you're watching, David, in season 2, it's like obviously ramping up to being very much more lore heavy and stuff, but I feel like you can still figure out what's going on. There is a certain point in the show where it's just sort of like, we don't care about accessibility. If you've ever seen the show before and you watch an episode, you're going to have no goddamn clue what's going on. There's an alternate universe. There's an alternate timeline. They're not the same things. No. It's an alternate timeline of the alternate universe, like very different. Like, and then there's also an alternate future. Like it's I mean, in true sci-fi fashion, it just all escalates and builds upon itself. And it's sort of like, if we're only ever going to have, a cult following anyway, then like, why not be as fucking bonkers as possible and heady about it? Cause they're going to follow what's going on. The casual viewer, we don't give a shit about that at a certain point. We're already not pulling the ratings anyways. Who cares?
Wow.
And I kind of love that, that daringness of it.
But I love a cult sci-fi show. I mean, and I love a cult sci-fi show that goes off the rails, that was created by J.J. Abrams. And I think that I am well on the record of being for that.
I would say I do think that this one sticks the landing better than pretty much any other J.J. Abrams show. I mean, this is the J.J. Abrams show in that he like helped start it and then was like, and then dipped out and like wasn't involved in the majority of it, you know? But in that line where it's sort of like, here, you set up a bunch of stuff that we have to find a way to pay off, and then it often doesn't, you know, it doesn't end very well. You know, depending on your, you know, perspective on it. I do think this one, it goes in wild directions, and I don't love like certain points of like the last couple of seasons, but I do think like the actual finale is really good in my opinion. Like I do think it's a show, if you watch all 5 seasons from beginning to end, I do think it's a very satisfying journey for the most part, even with some bumps along the way.
But this was pre-serialization. I mean, this was pre-streaming, so that sort of serialization demanded a viewer who could have their attention kept week after week after week, coming back to the TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, Merrilee, you referenced the Amber timeline earlier, so I'm guessing you have some background with the show Fringe. Is there anything that we need to know about your experience with the television show Fringe?
Yeah, I would like to say that I am sitting here talking about this Fringe episode thanks to Derek for more than one reason, because actually one of the key influences for me watching this show and like really getting into it in the first place was actually Derek.
I forgot that was the case. I swear I thought you watched this before I did. That is so funny.
No, yes.
I don't remember that at all.
I saw like the first couple episodes, like when it was at its most J.J. Abrams-esque, when they were airing. And I remember thinking, this seems like it's going to be cool, but I don't know if like the payoff's going to be good. Like I know that J.J. Abrams is so hot right now with like the new Star Trek show, like movie and all of this going on. I didn't know that he was like going to be able to pay attention to it. So I just didn't really like devote the energy to it. And then you told me that it was really good and it rewarded watching. This was like around, I think, season 3 or 4. And
it would have been season 4 because that's when I went really deep
yeah
into
it must have been around then. And so I started watching it because you told me that it was worth it to just like get over the first couple episode weirdness and I would really fall in love. And spoiler alert, I fell hard.
That is amazing,
that's
Merrilee.
so
I love
funny.
hearing that.
Yeah. I just think that it's a really wonderful show. I think that the characters involved are all like the best of their character type. I can't make a crooked character using the Monster of the Week like role-playing system without thinking of Peter Bishop. And that is my favorite class, by the way. So I think about him when I'm playing a lot.
I've thought about Peter Bishop a lot since seeing this episode too, but probably for different reasons.
I think it's a lovely, wonderful show. I think all of the actors, specifically Anna Torv, should be lauded for
really
their performance in this show more than they are.
Yeah.
And I love it. I really think it's an excellent TV show.
Well,
Yeah.
Derek, this all then came sort of from your recommendation, so you've got some history with Fringe as well.
Yeah, although funny enough, it's not that different from Merrilee's though.
Wow.
Because I watched it I watched the pilot. It was a 2-part pilot when it came out, and just riding the J.J. Abrams high right from Lost. So a big fan of Lost, and that obviously was advertised heavily about that. That has connections to that. So I watched it just for that alone, and I was like, this seems okay. Like I don't know, because I do think the pilot is like fine.
Okay.
There's some cool stuff in it, and like you have the characters are established, but like the actual I feel like what Merrilee said, it's like it seems cool, but like I don't know that you really get a sense of the depth of the show and the depth of the characters and like kind of the wild places that it could go from the pilot. It just feels like a pretty run of the mill, like kind of cool, edgy, dark, late 2000s sci-fi show that maybe will last a season and then, get canceled, right? Like that's kind of what it felt like. So I wasn't against it, but I definitely didn't stick with it. But I think that I always had enough of my pulse on like TV at the time, like genre TV specifically. And Fringe always continually would come up in those conversations about like, both for good and bad. Like I remember Anna Torv got so much criticism for her performance that I think is so I think it's just misogyny, honestly, because
100%,
it's like
100%.
people would call her wooden, and it's like I think that she's just playing stoic, which you see in male characters all the time, and it's just because when you have a woman playing a stoic character who like suppresses her emotions for the sake of the job that she's on and doing all the action stuff, like when you see a woman doing that, suddenly it's like, well, she's wooden, and it's like. I don't know what you're seeing. Like she's really good. She's a very subtle actor. She's a very subtle actor, but she's excellent. So I remember seeing stuff like that. And that's always kind of a red flag. That it's sort of where it's just sort of like, are you sure that feels wrong? But also, but on the positive side, I think it would come up in a lot of conversations about like, oh, surprisingly, this show got like really, really good and like better than you probably expected it was. And especially like the third season, I think is when I was sort of like, I have to watch this, because the third season is when it really goes like just like balls to the wall, like ridiculous, cool alternate universe stuff. And I love alternate universe stuff. And so it's sort of like, I have to watch this. And so I think it was right around the time the third season ended. I just bought all the DVDs for it, actually, because I think it wasn't on, I don't think it was streaming on Netflix at the time.
No, I don't think it was. I definitely didn't watch it illegally, but something like that.
Yeah, right. So it was like it was enough of a pull for me. I was sure enough that I was going to like it, that I was willing to just put out the money and just buy the 3 seasons that were released at the time. And then I think watched all through those as the 4th season was airing. And then as soon as the 4th season came to DVD, I watched it then. So I honestly only ever watched the final season live. Okay. But at least like for the 3rd and 4th season, I was at least watching them like very closely to when they had originally aired. And like, it was a thing where it's just sort of like just having the slightest bit of knowledge that it gets better. Like the first season isn't terrible.
Oh, no.
It has a lot of good stuff in it. It's just very different from what it becomes. And I think so that was enough of a pull to just be like, I can get through the first season. It's still a really fun watch. And then you get into season 2 and it's just like amazing television. Like truly, like it is the story of like every single sci-fi show ever made, where it's like the first season's a little rocky and then the second season is really good, and then maybe it kind of falls off after a couple seasons for the last couple. It's the same story you've ever heard for this type of thing, but it still is like, it almost felt a little bit throwbacky with Fringe, because it's like 2010 was kind of like the last time you would have a show that would be a cult show that would run for as long as Fringe did, for like full 22 episode seasons, that could have that sort of typical genre show arc, And so just seeing it evolve was really cool. And it is a really good binge watch. And I've watched through the whole show a couple of times. I think I like watching this. I'm like, I'm kind of due for a full rewatch again, because it is just an incredibly rewarding show.
It is. It really is. The thing is, the first couple episodes of season 1 are really rough, and then after that it's like an excellent sci-fi TV show. Okay. And then starting around mid-season 2 to season 3, it like gets hit with rocket fuel, and it goes incredible. It's so incredible places. And then season 4 happens, and it's still really good, but it's just different. And then season 5 is this whole other thing.
Season 5 is almost a totally different show in a lot of ways.
It is a different show. It has the same characters, but it is a different TV show.
Yeah, it's really wild. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I think David ended up just watching this one episode, because we were talking about it. Like, I was trying to like think of like how like ones that I would recommend to him, to watch ahead of time, and I'm sort of like, I kind of just want to recommend like everything from like the episode Jacksonville all the way to the end of the season, like including this episode, because it's like a banger after banger. But then I'm like, but actually then it goes until like through the 3rd season, and then so it's like, actually there's really only like 30 straight episodes of just straight bangers that you could watch if you want to get caught up. And it's like, actually maybe just watch this one, because otherwise you should just watch the whole show. Because it really is like, once it puts its foot on the gas, it is just good for a very, very long time, consecutively every single episode.
The standby on gimmicks when I haven't seen an episode or any of a series is, I'll ask Derek, what should I watch? And I'll just watch the pilot. And Derek's response was, no, don't watch the pilot. And then proceeded to tell me to watch every episode of television that had ever been made that wasn't the pilot to the show.
Yeah, that's the classic Fringe experience, actually.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I watched this and it was perfect. And I almost don't want to watch more Fringe because this was such.
Oh, no.
This was such. Oh, you say I should. Okay, well.
No, I mean,
I will
listen,
tell you, this was a delightful bite of dessert. This was such a good episode.
It was. This episode is so lovely. We should probably talk about it at some point. But just if you are interested at all at Fringe, I do think that I have a standard don't watch Fringe recommendation policy because it gets so weird, and unless you like want to go insane, I don't know that it's a show that I can recommend in good conscience. But it is also one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. So like, please have that information and go forth.
No, Merrilee, we've got a 2-week cruise coming up. I'm going to watch this over international waters. I think this is the way to go on this one.
Hell yeah.
Mike's going to jump overboard. He did watch this with me and was like, what the fuck are we watching? And that to me says good gimmicks episode. That means good gimmicks episode.
Hell yeah. Well, the episode we are talking about, it's called Brown Betty. Like we said, originally aired April 29th, 2010. Synopsis per IMDb is Walter has just smoked a drug that he calls Brown Betty when Olivia arrives at the laboratory to leave Ella with Astrid. The girl asks Walter to tell a story, and he creates a detective story where the Fringe division are the characters. It doesn't even tap into the weirdness of this episode, which
so much
was written.
So much to say.
Which was written by Jeff Pinkner, J.H. Wyman, and Akiva Goldsman. Pinkner and Wyman served as the co-showrunners for a big chunk of the show. Pinkner produced the first 4 seasons and then left after the 4th season. Wyman was promoted to showrunner during season 2 and then became the sole showrunner for season 5. So they overlap, but they were mostly the showrunners throughout the entire show. Pinkner was previously a showrunner for all 5 seasons of Alias. He was a writer and producer for the 3rd season of Lost. I don't understand how it's just that one season of Lost. That's a little weird, but okay. Contributed to writing Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the new Jumanji movies, okay. He was also, this is for you, Merrilee, he was the executive producer on the Limetown TV adaptation.
Oh, wow, okay. That's cool. I still have never watched that. I should at some point.
I mean, well, to be fair, it was aired on Facebook, so who did watch that show?
That's a good point.
I watched the first episode and was impressed with how they adapted it, but I didn't watch beyond it because, again, watching a show on Facebook was like actually hurting my soul. And so I don't know. It's probably streaming elsewhere now, but maybe I'll watch it one day. I don't know. Wyman's biggest credit is Fringe, but he did create the short-lived sci-fi show Almost Human, which I remember watching a little bit of.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah. That's really the only other things he's done, which is kind of a bummer. I feel like he should be doing more sci-fi stuff, but
yeah, he should. He's got a really interesting perspective. Those are the 2 shows that he's worked on. I'm a huge fan of his work.
Right, absolutely.
Get that man back into sci-fi. Let's go.
Seriously. Goldsman, we've actually talked about him before. He wrote a bunch of episodes of Fringe through all 5 seasons, but we talked about him on our Strange New Worlds episode because he's very heavily involved with developing Star Trek right now. So we dig a little deeper in him there. But like his career is wild because he's written stuff from like Batman and Robin to A Beautiful Mind to the Transformers movies to Fringe. So like, I don't know. He's like good and bad depending on the day. I'm happy with his contributions to this show, I guess. The director of this episode I find really fascinating. It's Seth Mann directed it. This is the only episode of Fringe he has ever directed. But he has directed tons of TV, from like genre shows to network procedurals to like Grey's Anatomy to prestige-y stuff like The Wire and Homeland. He recently directed on the Let the Right One In TV adaptation that they're doing on Showtime that I had no idea even existed. Surprise to me.
Like based on the movie?
Like it's based on the movie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
I don't know how you make
right.
I don't know how you make that a TV show, but whatever.
Listen, they're gonna try.
They're gonna try. They're gonna try.
Oh, they're not gonna keep trying. It was canceled.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow, whoops.
Oh no.
Sorry to be a bummer.
Sorry, Seth.
I was like, how do you make this? And I just popped onto the Wikipedia and it goes, oh, this was just canceled.
You don't.
Oh, so sad.
Well, maybe if people had heard of it,
Right?
then
Yeah. Do a revival campaign. Let's go back to the 2010s and have people start writing in for shows they want to save.
Yeah.
Listen, if we're doing revival campaigns, A, I'm so there. B, not for this one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Merrilee.
I think that's fair.
I got a lot of shows that were canceled recently. I am ready to start mailing things to people. You just tell me where, but I'm sorry, I only have so many crackers or whatever it is.
Right. The other thing I think is interesting about Seath Man, I think it's worth noting he is a black man who's directing this episode. He has like very noted influence from Spike Lee. He went to undergrad at HBCU. I know he's like some of his work is like very particularly with the black experience. I think it's really interesting for a couple of reasons. For one, it's just like in the world of like directing in genre television that's very dominated by white men, so you don't often see a one-off director being a black guy. I think on this show, I didn't do my due diligence to like dig deeply. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the only black director on this show, to be honest, because just a brief look, most of them are white guys and like a couple of women sprinkled in. So, you know, I also think it's worth noting that in recent years, Jessica Nicole, who plays Astrid, has been very outspoken about racism that she faced from multiple directors and producers on this show. And so to have at least one black director who probably did pronounce her name right and wasn't an asshole about it on set feels like a nice thing. And also interesting because I feel like Astrid actually gets like, honestly, a little more to do in this episode than she typically gets on the show. Really? So, you know.
Yeah. That's, I had no idea. I don't look at entertainment news a lot anymore. But that's really disheartening to hear because I love Jessica Nicole is incredible. She's such a wonderful actress. I love following her career. I love she was the main narrator in a podcast called Alice Isn't Dead. And it's simply one of my favorite podcasts I've ever listened to. Nice. It's a really incredible narrated story about this woman who her wife died, except that she isn't dead, and she has become a long haul trucker to try and find out the truth of what happened to her wife. And it's just a bananas story. She kills it as the I don't think that the narrator is ever named, but if she is, it's in the second season that I haven't listened to as much. It's just such a really incredible story that if you have not listened to, you definitely should.
I remember hearing about it and I never got around to listening to it, but we'll put that on my
It's 2 seasons and absolutely worth it.
Cool.
Nice.
Alice isn't dead. Just making sure I got that right.
Yeah, Alice isn't dead.
Yeah. And I love Jessica Nicole too. She's so good. And she's so good on the show for the little that she gets to do over the course of 5 seasons.
I know. It's so irritating. There's like this running gag that you see a lot in this episode in particular where Walter gets Astrid in particular's name wrong. And it's irritating to know that the directors were getting Jessica's name wrong.
What?
In addition, but in season 4, spoilers, but the timeline resets and everything changes. And so like the first half of season 4, you can tell that Astrid and Walter have a much closer relationship, and he never gets her name wrong until about halfway through the season where they forget that wasn't a thing anymore. Yeah. And for the rest of the show, Walter gets Astrid's name wrong, and it drives me up a wall.
Yeah, that was one of the big things that like made it a news story when she was being outspoken about, you know, about her experience on the show was that gag specifically, is that it's sort of like she was like, I think she said, I don't have, you know, her quotes in front of me right now, but I think it was the long and short of it was sort of like, I get what the joke was initially, but once it became a running gag for literally all 5 seasons, while directors were specifically getting my name wrong on set, to the point that, like she said, like other cast members would like intervene. She had like an anecdote about Joshua Jackson, like making a name tag that like phonetically spelled her name for the directors to be like, this is how you pronounce it. Like it's sort of like, I'm your like big star. Listen to me to pronounce my coworker's name right. And they still like wouldn't, which at that point it's sort of like, oh, so you're just doing it to be an asshole. And so then when that gets reflected in the show as a running gag, it's sort of like, that just sounds like that was just intentional, actually. Like that doesn't.
Yeah, that was racist all along, babe.
Right,
wow.
Right.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Pretty bad.
Not good.
Nope.
Bad.
Nope.
Well, she's in this episode a lot, which maintains my thesis that this is the best episode. So
yeah, she's great.
I'm at least happy for that.
I also while we're talking about Astrid in specific, I just want to throw it out there that I think that this was an accident, just as the nature of like the tropes in the show, but there's just like a little bit of sexual tension between Olivia and Astrid, and I really wish that was more.
A little,
of a thing.
really? No. We'll get there when we get to that part of the episode.
Okay,
there's not a little. You're very wrong,
it,
and we'll get to it. There's
you.
a lot.
I appreciate
There's a
that.
lot.
I would love to be more. I want that very
There's a lot.
badly.
Oh my God.
I'm sure
Okay.
Derek read through my notes and was like, "Oh boy, I'm excited about this."
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because I'm just sort of like, that's like, I wish that's like the most you see that sexual tension is in this episode.
shame.
Like, I wish that was more.
No,
throughout the entire
unfortunately, there's a little bit more later on. There's an episode, spoilers, where Olivia, her body gets taken over by William Bell.
show. That's right.
Oh, I don't like that.
And
I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. He dies, and it's a whole thing where his spirit is in Olivia's body because she drank some soul magnets
as you
unknowingly. And listen, it's none of that matters. What matters is that William Bell is really into Astrid, and it's very uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna
So-
Torv doing a Leonard Nimoy impression is the reason to watch that episode, though.
Oh, she's incredible.
so
Anna
wild.
Torv, tour de force. Her Leonard Nimoy impression is so good. Unfortunately good. That's
It's
just-
like,
it was bad.
It's so good that it's uncomfortable to watch.
In a dark and twisted town,
What do you want?
New case. I need you.
two lost souls are searching for salvation.
Don't stick your heart out where it doesn't belong.
Dunham, she's a dame to die for, literally.
Death seems to follow you around.
What you saying there, Chief?
Bishop, he's a fella not afraid to crack some skulls.
I heard you were looking for me.
And on Thursday, April 29th, their worlds collide.
Oh, hell.
Starring Anna Torv,
Now, I can call the feds, or you can tell me the truth. You choose, lady.
Joshua Jackson,
Walter Bishop isn't responsible for all the goodness in the world, but he is responsible for so much evil.
Lance Reddick,
Time to leave things to the big boys.
Blair Brown,
You should know what you're getting into, Miss Dunham.
Jessica Nicole,
Be careful.
and John Noble.
Why not bring a little life to the dead, I say?
In Fox Broadcasting's mysterious mindbender,
It's capable of many wondrous things.
Fringe.
Why don't you tell me a story?
Next Thursday,
Once upon a time,
it's a Fringe unlike anything you've ever seen before.
Who the hell is Peter Bishop, and why are you looking for him?
he stole something.
Peter Bishop is dangerous.
I heard you were looking for me.
She's gonna help him, right?
This is where things might get a bit frightening.
The end.
Maybe.
Fringe, all new next Thursday.
To leave things to the big boys.
This episode, though, because there's still plenty to talk about for this one. The gimmick of this episode is it's a lot. It's a lot, really. It basically Walter Bishop creates this whole strain of cannabis, and he calls Brown Buddy, smokes it, and then tells a story while he's babysitting Olivia's niece Ella. And that story is like a combination of like detective stories, musicals. It's like part fairy tale, and it's also got these really weird elements because, you know, he's like high, he's telling the story, but he's telling it to a child. So he's telling it's very simplistic story. It's like, it is intentionally a very bizarre mishmash of stuff. So it's like, we've done a noir episode. It's like a lot of noir stuff in it, but like it's, you know, it's not meant to be authentic. They have like, you know, a lot of futurism stuff. They're using cell phones and computers at the same time that they're wearing fedoras and like singing jazz and stuff. And then there's also like the magical element where there's just things that are in there that don't make sense, like a magical glass heart and singing corpses and stuff like that. Like, we will talk about all that stuff, but it's just the whole point of this episode is that it's just weird and like many genres at once, and none of them are what Fringe normally is.
It's a noir musical fairy tale. What's hard to understand there?
These things go together very naturally.
Of course.
And I'm going to say that based on The Last Time Love, the story that ends up getting told by Bishop reflects some of the conflict that's going on so far in the arc of the series. This is guess one. This is guess one for me.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, this is definitely like the last couple of, few episodes were very, big reveals for the lore of the show.
Yeah.
And then this is sort of, in a way, kind of your breather episode that's just like letting Walter sit with that grief and deal with it. Because, there isn't really narrative movement in the grand scheme of things, but this is like Walter being able to take a beat and just like think about what just happened with, his son finding out that he's from a parallel universe and Walter has done horrible things in his past. And now his son is left because of that. And just basically dealing with the ramifications of everything that he's done wrong, up until that point. And this is sort of how he deals with that. And he has a history of like drug use, so it makes sense that he'd be dealing with it through drugs.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
You know what this episode reminds me most of? Like the episode of TV that makes me think of the most?
Mm-hmm.
It's Restless in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, because of the different genre styles bouncing around.
Mm-hmm. As well as a very much so what Derek just said about it being a moment where the characters can like stop and have a rest after this big thing happened and really like reflect on the things that just happen in their emotional state.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison.
I think this one's a little, I say a little bit, I mean like a lot more like self-effacent, and like Walter, rightly or wrongly, has a lot of self-hatred that he deals with in this one specifically in his story. But
yeah,
and that reflects, and that's like the main difference between the two of them for me, because in Restless, a lot of the dream sequences are weird and people are dealing with these things that they have in their mental state, but none of them really hate themselves the way that Walter does.
Yeah.
And that I think really changes the tone of it.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Cause this episode, it's the story he's telling is very melancholy, even with the fairy tale elements.
Right.
A quote that I like that Pinkner had said, I think it was from an interview. Yeah, it was from an interview, I believe, that I was reading with him. But like, it does sort of make sense that you could do like a noir fairy tale, because classic noirs are pretty traditionally morality tales. And so like if you're doing a morality tale, that kind of aligns with like what a lot of classic fairy tales also are. So like those sort of ideas of just like grand sweeping statements about being good and being bad and the consequences of those two things in the most simplistic of terms that you could tell children, like weirdly that fits into both of those genres.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it does, and it's a good way to like reflect Walter's frame of mind, because if he is very squarely like landing on like not thinking of the complexity of his life anymore, but just thinking like, I am a bad man, I did bad things, I deserve to be punished for it. And that's the story that comes out of that essentially. The making of this episode though, all of that said, all that's great. the freaking reason for the episode being as weird as it is hilarious, because so like there was always an idea, I think, to be like Walter has something drug induced and they do like a noir pastiche. Like that was always in the cards. The other thing that I think we haven't talked a ton about is that like there's also this weird musical element to it where like people just randomly break out in songs.
Right.
And I think that heightened the episode, made it weirder, and then that opened up the floodgates to be as weird as this episode is. The reason that happened is because of Glee, actually.
No.
So so for Sweeps Week, Fox was like, we're going to do this Fox Rocks campaign to align with Glee, because it's like, it was the second season of it. So it's like the height of Glee popularity. So with this Fox Rocks campaign, like basically all of the shows, or maybe most of the shows in their lineup, are supposed to do some type of musical episode. So like Family Guy, Bones, The Simpsons, and a few other shows did musical episodes, or if not musical episodes that incorporated music in some way. Fox specifically didn't ask for full-blown musical, because asking for that from Fringe would be unhinged, but they still were like, you have to have some some music in some shape or form. And it's like, well, we already have this episode in development that's going to be a sort of like weird genre bending, like drug trip from Walter. So like it does kind of work to just go ahead and also put some musical sequences into it. Like it kind of worked out, honestly. Like they're pretty chill about it. I think it just allowed them to feel comfortable being even weirder and more on the nose, I think too, because obviously musicals are meant to be stating your emotions. So like if you're exploring Walter's state of mind, like you can, like it's an easy thing to just sort of have people sing what they're feeling, you know, like if it's in his dream, right? So yeah,
for sure. I think that really, I had never even considered that it could be like part of a studio mandate, because to me it always made perfect sense that Walter would include music in this story, because all throughout the show, music is shown to be incredibly important to Walter as like a way to process his feelings, or just like having around his record player is always hugely important to his state of mind. It never even occurred to me that wouldn't be involved in his weird drug trip.
Right.
You know, though, and I made a noise when you said the Glee thing, but I actually think it's kind of fun when TV does this. And I even think that it might be kind of fun for a writer. And it sounds like Pinkner took to this and said, like, yeah, I was already going a little bit wild, so let me go even further wild. And I don't know. I mean, I remember the Blackout series on NBC did really well, and that was a lot of fun when every New York-based sitcom had a blackout. I think it's fun watching what writers do with this sort of thing. I just maybe wish that if somebody didn't want to do it, they didn't have to do it.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not, you know what I meant to do and didn't was like look up what the other TV show episodes were at the time.
I got you, Derek. I got you.
I can't imagine they're all good.
They're not. There's one of them. So the animated series are the ones that took to this the most.
Of course.
But that included The Simpsons doing a Kesha TikTok situation.
Oh,
which is
I remember that. That was fun.
That was fun.
Cute.
Family Guy did it. Bones Incorporated. When you said Bones, I lost my mind, which is why I had to Google this. But it was just Brennan and Booth playing the guitar together and
got it,
promoting their will they won't they nonsense. And then House is on this list, and that one was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh shit, that is so funny. I don't even know what episode that is. I don't think I watched.
Oh wait, so is that the one with I remember, hold on, I remember this, where like Cuddy has like a brain tumor or something, or for whatever reason she has to like do surgery and she's really nervous about it, and like they do several different genre scenes, including like a zombie thing in the hospital where House has like a knife cane, and as well as he sings that Judy Garland song, but it's all creepy and stuff. Is that the one?
Merrilee, I adore you so very dearly, and I can't go down in your mind. I hope that I am solidified. I'm not a huge House fan, and I don't know how many more shows I can tell you that I haven't seen, but the article that I have found that reviews the Fox Rocks campaign concludes that it was unsuccessfy. I don't have any other details on the House episode. Just that it was a bad idea.
Yeah. It could be a different episode. I just remember that they made like a huge deal about this musical sequence. I actually am not a huge House person.
Sure.
So like the fact that I remember this, which it was because it was like made such a big deal, and I watched the musical sequence. They just had it online, and this episode actually turned out to be a big deal because this is where, spoilers for House, where House relapses onto Vicodin, and that's why he and Cuddy break up. And it's like a lots of things happen. Anyway, I know a lot about House for someone who doesn't want, like, not a House head.
Well, I will put this onto the podcast and say to listeners who are fans of House, perhaps as much of a fan as Merrilee is, but claims not to be. The episode was the sixth season episode called Baggage. That was the episode that aired. Okay. That was the musical version.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the one that I'm thinking of, though.
Huh. I mean, to be fair, like no matter what, even I think this this episode of Fringe initially got some bad reviews when it first came out. I think because of people just feeling gross about the sort of like, oh, this is just a publicity stunt to align with Glee. It's weird that Fringe is singing and like not really like looking into it any further. So like I could see that. I mean, I feel like knowing that Fox Rocks was a campaign could like make anyone write a bad review for any of these episodes, whether they were good or not, including, you know, the house episode that may or may not have been. Yeah.
Hold on. I have to Google this now.
We've lost Merrilee to. This is now a house podcast. We're actually covering baggage, Derek.
Right.
I'll get some show notes put together real quick.
While you're looking that up, I did think it was kind of interesting because there's no other place I feel like to really bring this up when we're talking about the episode, because there's two I think interesting people that are interesting that they don't sing in this episode. One is Joshua Jackson. He's obviously like the second lead and he doesn't sing a word. And he apparently, by all accounts, according to the commentary, does have a good singing voice and sings on set like to himself a lot, but he was just very adamant that he did not want to sing in the episode. Like he was like, I'm not singing. And they were like, I guess you're our big star, so we can't force you to. So she only didn't sing because he didn't want to. The other one, it's a different reason. It's Michael Severus plays the Observer, which you think like, well, yeah, of course the Observer's not going to sing a song. Like the reason that he would is because that actor is a Tony Award winner.
No.
So it's like, you do have him. And they were sort of like, it feels like we should let him sing a song, right? And they did plan to have him sing Django Reinhardt's Blue Moon at one point. It was just like, but they were just like, there's just no way to fit this in a way that makes any sense. That doesn't feel like it's just like that people wouldn't just be confused as to why the Observer is singing a song and like why Walter would also have the Observer sing a song in his story. Like they just couldn't justify it. So Tony Award winner Michael Severus doesn't get to sing a word in this episode.
Devastating.
That's a bummer. Okay, I Googled it. This is not the episode that I was thinking of. The one that I was thinking of was season 7, episode 15, Bombshells. Hugh Laurie sings Get Happy. And I have sent the video clip of that to Derek just for his own edification if you want to watch it. It's a very weird dream sequence.
Amazing. Well, now we're going to start doing the beat-by-beat breakdown of the house episode, Baggage.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate you.
Well, do we want to do Baggage or Bombshells? I don't know. I guess we have two choices now.
Yeah.
Either one.
I'm going to go back to the Amber timeline, and we're going to cover the beat-by-beat for Fringe episode Brown Betty.
Probably a much better episode than either of those house episodes, no matter what.
If for no other reason than I did a lot of investigation about cannabis, and I don't want that to go to waste. So, previously on Fringe, I mentioned this, but we get a quick little clip of some dimensional travel and some paternity drama, which has left Peter Bishop feeling betrayed. And then we jump into the episode in earnest. Walter is smoking from a bong and begins labeling everything in his lab. Astrid enters and notices that Walter has smoked cannabis, but corrects her that he has actually smoked something that he calls Brown Betty.
I'd hardly classify what I've just smoked as marijuana. It's a hybrid of chronic supernova and Afghani Kush. I call it Brown Betty.
Walter, I knew how you're feeling.
It's important to take control of one's life.
Walter, Peter is going to come back. He just needs some time.
Olivia enters, and Walter asks if she has any leads on the whereabouts of his son, and she says she does, but she needs someone to take care of her niece, Ella.
Okay. Multiple places. I mean, I feel like the big place to start off with is the drugs. We got to talk about the drugs.
Okay.
David, you did a bunch. You're the big weed head here today. So
wow.
Tell us all about the dope.
Pretty strong eye roll from me when IMDb said drug, and he cites that this is just 2 strains of cannabis that he has put together that are chronic supernova and Afghani Kush, Well, supernova is a strain of cannabis commonly referred to as simply chronic. It is itself a hybrid of blueberry and Mazari-e Sarif. And it's a pretty strong version of cannabis, about 24% THC, making it ideal for frequent users like Walter. Afghan Kush, on the other hand, has its roots in the Hindu Kush mountain range, and it's what was used to create sticky black Afghani hash. It's described as marmello, goes around 14% THC. Putting those together would make you pretty fucked up, but I don't know that it would make you, well, I don't know. I don't know how much he's using. So this is all plausible from my lens.
Sure.
I've never been described as a weed head before, and that was such an honor, Derek. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm just probably guessing that I've probably done more weed than you have, but I'm just gonna assume that. But I'm not sure.
I've actually never used cannabis. No, that would
okay.
Be
Well, then,
yeah.
I guess that I definitely
you would have to have had. Yeah.
Bizarrely, like, this shocked me when I was listening to the audio commentary. They were like, yeah, so we actually removed the scene of Walter smoking weed at one point and we were just going to start the episode with him just like being in a weird state telling stories. And I'm like, it's not like the entire point. Like, they were worried about, the network, putting, somebody smoking weed on a network TV, which I get, but I'm like, it's like the impetus for I don't think the episode would make any sense if he wasn't high. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, listen. Not to play devil's advocate here, but Walter is insane. So, and he does have like pieces of his brain missing. I think that's already been established by that point. So, Walter, I can do anything. I think the wildest part of that sentence to me is the fact that they were worried that the network wasn't going to let them do it, and I, for one, am shocked that they were worried the network would view Walter Bishop as like a role model that people shouldn't try and emulate.
Right. Yeah.
Here's the deal. Not only do I like that it kept in because I think it provides some structure for the gimmick episode, I also think that, again, and all I'm using is based on the last time on, I can tell that Walter's going through some grief and he is using this Brown Betty to self-medicate. That was highly evident to me, even as an outside viewer.
Yeah, I think the episode would be significantly darker if he just like started the episode being sad and in a state of depressive grief and then tells the story to a child. Like if he's, I think I mean, I think they even said on the commentary that it's like, it does play funnier if you know that Walter is high telling this story. Like that you can sort of, I feel like you can kind of not focus as much on the self-hatred part of the story because, like he is high, he is heightening all of his emotions anyway. And you can kind of focus more on the silliness of this like man who's stoned out of his gourd telling the silly story. Right. And then the darker stuff sort of is a little bit below that, and I do think when you watch the episode, like you don't actually see him smoke out of the bong. You see like the Erlenmeyer flask bong. You see him blowing the smoke out. We don't see him actually inhaling it, which I do think is like important for standards and practices,
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is a Clinton defense is what you're going for here. Is that he never actually inhaled. Got it.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, they could have still taken out that scene in the very beginning and just had him like organizing and her like that, left everything but that first shot. True. And you still would have gotten that he was high the whole time.
Well, and like, you could even just keep her dialogue, right? Because she calls him out on it.
Yeah, and Ella again, is like, it's stinky in here, so...
I fucking love Ella. I love Ella so much.
She's great.
So good.
She's so fun. I think it's to the show's detriment that you never see Ella or Sarah after season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just for the real Fringe heads out there. But I just think that she brings such a lovely presence to this episode specifically. Like her way of like making like driving Walter and making him engage with her and the story, as well as her at the end. She brings so much to this episode, and I really love her very much.
Good child actor too, like very good. Child actor.
Incredible.
Yeah.
When Walter is sort of setting up the scaffolding for this story he's telling, he mentions that his parents loved musicals and detective stories, and we get a name drop of Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett, and these two are essentially credited with creating the hard-boiled detective stories that we now regard as standards of noir.
What about your parents, Uncle Walter? Didn't they tell you stories?
Oh, yes. My mother loved Chandler and another writer called Dashiell Hammett. She loved detective stories and musicals. She adored musicals. She often would dress me up to play parts in plays at school. I was roughed up quite a lot as a child.
Walter, I think that Ella would really, really enjoy a story.
Once upon a time.
I like that that's also wrapped up in like, and my mother dressed me up in characters from musicals, and I got bullied a lot as a child.
Yeah.
That all checks out.
Yep. Everything I've ever heard about Walter's past makes sense with that information. I will say, sorry, just to circle back around, when Ella first gets in there, he's like, no, don't let Jean lick you. Is that, like, is it bad when cows lick people? Like, or is it a Jean-specific thing? Does anybody know what was going on with that? Because that's confused me every time.
I didn't read any. If you all have special information about Jean the cow, I grew up on farms. Like, there's nothing wrong with a cow licking. It's disgusting. But I don't think, like, they're not going to eat a child.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It probably, I don't know. It could be that it would be gross, or maybe he did do an experiment on Jean or something, and she has like acid saliva or something. I don't know.
You know, Merrilee, in these instances, I also like to ask myself, did we need to get that character out of the scene? And we did. So it might have just been a nice, easy way to get Walter out of the scene so that
Fair
Astrid
enough.
and Olivia could have a conversation together.
Yeah, that's probably it. It just, every time I watch it, it's like, but what's going on with Jean, Walter? What's wrong with the cow? Who is such a lovely cow. I love that you could truly tell that they had a cow on set the whole time. Yeah, I just think that's funny.
So funny.
Well, we jump into the story, and we find ourselves in Olivia's private detective office. Rachel has come in to hire Olivia to find her lost boyfriend, Peter, and she begins to sing, but it's Walter's voice coming out of her mouth.
You know, most times when someone comes in here worried that their sweetheart's gone missing or worse, by the time they find out what I usually find out, they wind up wishing you really were dead.
What do you usually find out?
Rachel, is it? Do yourself a favor. Go home.
He wouldn't do what you're suggesting. We met only a few weeks ago, but it was love at first sight. You probably don't believe something like that exists, but I assure you, it does.
Something happens and I'm head over heels. I never find out till I'm head over heels. Something happens and I'm head over heels. Don't take my heart, don't break my heart, don't throw it away.
What those school kids must have done to you.
Maybe you should teach me algebra.
It's so good.
Nope,
it's
didn't
so
like this.
funny.
Didn't like this.
It really is.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, you know this episode's gonna be weird. And the fact that it's all before the opening credits even start. Like, and he's singing, and oh my god, there's so much to it though, because it's sort of like you get the noir thing, and then suddenly it's a musical, someone's singing, but then they're singing in Walter's voice, which is funny, but they're also singing like Tears for Fears, like they're singing head over heels. So it's like, oh, so this is gonna be an anachronistic noir thing. It's not even like a, you know, out of the noir time period. Like, there's so much happening in that one singular moment that just signals like this episode is just not going to make any goddamn sense, and you're going to just have to deal with that.
Yeah. I hated that was Tears for Fears because I said, I know this song. And I thought, I listen to old music all the time. That's sort of one of my like Spotify go-tos. And then I listened to it again and again. And I was like, this is a fucking pop song done in crooner style. Yeah. And I threw my laptop off the desk and stormed away.
Wait, I can't tell what that emotion is. No, I love Tears for Fears. And I love that that's in this episode. Is that a bad thing?
I don't like being fooled, Derek. If it's a 30s song, make it a 30s song.
No, that's why I think it's fun that he's singing Tears. He's singing an 80s song in their 30s noir. It's fun. I love that.
This happens for the rest of the song cues in this entire thing. Yeah. I just want everyone to be aware. I love them all. The performances are, I mean, except for this one, which is unsettling. The performances are fantastic. But I felt tricked. I felt fooled.
Yeah.
We got to get you one of those YouTube channels that do modern songs in classic ways. Just specifically this song, Just For You.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, as Derek mentioned, we're not even to the opening credits. We jumped to the opening credits. They're fun. I didn't write any notes about these. I usually do, but they were, it was quick, right? It was just a quick little opening credit. You see Fringe and then you're in.
Yep. And fun little words of scientific concepts.
Oh, that's right. That was, you know what? That was the X-Files vibe that I was like, this is the elevated X-Files opening.
I will tell you, David, and there's something that actually I'm kind of surprised they didn't do for this one, but like this show does have a lot of fun with messing with the opening credits for specific special episodes. Like,
you know, I love that. That's one of my favorite things.
Like there's episodes that like take place in the 80s. So they do like a retro analog version of the opening credits. There's like, depending on when they have to differentiate between different universes, like if an episode is taking place in the alternate universe, it'll be a different color for the opening credits, stuff like that. Like they have a lot of fun with how they do their opening intros. This is just not a good example of it. This is just a very normal one.
Yeah, I really think they missed a trick with it. Did they maybe like run out of time? Because it seems like this would be the kind of episode they would do a different opening theme with.
I guess they hadn't
throw a color filter on this. Just make it noir-y.
I guess they hadn't started. Well, no, I was going to say they hadn't started, but they literally just did it with the Peter episode. I think the Peter episode was the first time that they did it, and that did feel like, I mean, that is a huge episode, so it makes sense that it's special. And I think maybe they didn't think that they were going to start doing it beyond that, and then the alternate universe stuff is when they start messing with the colors and everything. So I think it fell in a weird in between period, maybe, or they just weren't thinking about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Back in this fun noir story, we're in a fancy bar. Of course, you got to go to a fancy jazz bar when you're in a noir, and we meet this story's version of Philip Broyles, who is a police lieutenant in this story. He's singing a blues version of "The Low Spark of High-Heeled Boys" by Traffic.
Don't worry too much, it'll happen to you. We were children once, playing with toys.
Hello, Lieutenant Broyles.
Lance Reddick
is
such good. I mean, he's good, period.
He's incredible.
Singing voice. Such a beautiful singing voice.
Yeah.
That threw me for a loop the first time. It was like, oh my God, he can sing?
Really well.
And well. And this is the first time I've learned that information.
Yeah.
Desperately excited that it was not, again, Walter's voice coming out of this man. Because although I do think that would have been funny, this was way better.
Way better.
Bums me out that he's like a dirty cop in Walter's like story, because he's like a generally pretty good guy in the show Fringe.
I love Broyles. I think he has horrible taste in friends. But don't worry about that. You can find out what I mean by that later when you watch the show. But I genuinely like love Broyles. Every version of Broyles that we see is just such a lovely, upright guy who wants to do the right thing. And it's interesting that this is what Walter thinks of him, because I know it's a noir, so you got like these tropes that you got to deal with, but he must have such limited contact with Broyles that he's just like, yeah, this works. This isn't like a total character assassination at all.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it is weird. I mean, it's not like we see a lot of Broyles in this, so
no,
like whatever. But that is one of the most like, oh, you're just grafting a noir trope onto this character for literally no reason type of things. Yeah. Because that detail about him, like about how he became police lieutenant, didn't need to be there. It doesn't really play into anything, you know.
Oh, not even police chief. He's a lieutenant.
Lieutenant, yeah. So I don't know.
Which is such he like works. He's very high up in like the Department of Defense or FBI or whatever it is that he is in the normal timeline. So just he became a dirty cop to be a lieutenant. Such a step down.
What a bummer.
Hey, listen, we all got to make that cheddar, Merrilee.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the reason that they're there is because Olivia's asking for information on Peter, the guy she's searching for. He has none, but she also shows him a drawing, which he says is the company logo for Massive Dynamic.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's where
Which
we're
then
going.
leads, of course, Olivia to jump over to Massive Dynamics. We're in this kind of weird liminal space that is their offices. Olivia meets with Nina, who tells her that Peter is a dangerous conman and she should watch out. After Olivia leaves, though, Nina makes a suspiciously dark phone call, which was the same vibe that Derek gave us earlier in being incidentally evil Nina.
A detail that I really like, I mean, obviously when they're doing this sort of like sort of period piece type stuff with the noir thing, they swap out some of the furniture in some of their sets to make it look different. Obviously, you're going to expect that. I do think that it's like interesting when you look at some of the details for it, because with the Massive Dynamic set, like normally, it's the same set and it's just a white space with white furniture and it's brightly lit. It's your sort of like sleek futuristic Apple office type of thing, right? That's the aesthetic they're going for. And what's funny is that like with the noir version, it's the exact same set. They just swap the white furniture out for black furniture and dim the lights a little bit. And that is enough to make it look like so much older and so different. Like that's all, like it's still even like the same setup. She's still got like a very modern table and modern computer sitting there, alongside just like a rotary phone, which is a funny detail. But other than that, it's just like just the color of the furniture and the light is enough to make it suddenly not look futuristic anymore. It's so funny.
And I think the light's a big part of this because it turns it from modern sleek into like Art Deco and only essentially through lighting, which is such a cool trick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Olivia takes her advice and leaves well enough alone, except she doesn't. She's obviously still on the case. She's in her car and she calls Rachel on her car phone. And she hears Rachel being attacked. She hurries back to Rachel's apartment, but she's too late. Rachel is dead and her heart is gone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, singing Ella's praises. One of the things that I really like about Ella in this episode is that after this whole reveal, remember that Rachel is Ella's mom in real life. So like Walter just like told Ella that like, I killed your mom in the story, by the way.
That's not how it goes. She can't be dead.
Why not?
Probably because it's her mother, Walter.
Oh.
No, that's not it. Because that's not how stories work. She's in love. True love. She can't die.
But, as I have said, in this story, things are not as they seem.
Then they cut back into real life and Ella's like, no, that's not how it goes. And you think that it's sort of like, that's not how it goes. She can't be dead is referring to like, well, you just killed her mom in the story. Like Astrid even says as much, like, you just killed her mom. Of course she's going to be upset. But Ella's like, she's not having that. She's like, no, I don't care about that. I know that it's like a fake story. I'm not stupid. I'm bothered by the fact that your story structure doesn't follow the correct story structure. Like, it's just like, if she believes in true love and she really is in love with someone, you can't just kill her. That's like unfair if you're having a story that's supposed to have a happy ending. Like, I love that she's like that smart, that like, she's not they're like balancing like the naivete of a little child who's like thinks a story should be very simple and should have a happy ending and should be once upon a time happily ever after. But she's not so naive that it's sort of like, I know that you named a character after my mom, but like, my mom's not really dead. Like, I get that. That's not bothering me at all, actually. Like, I find that so funny.
It's really lovely.
This scene also takes us to the act out, and in between acts, there are these images that show up on the screen. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know if the two of you were aware of this. I, of course, wanted to figure out more about it. But what do you all know about these glyphs that appear?
They look cool.
Oh, okay.
They're for fun. This show was built in a time when the writers were aware of internet fandom. And so there are things in this show that, like, at the end of the day are basically meaningless and are just there for people on the internet to have something fun to play with. And I know the glyphs are a translatable language. And it's like, it was sort of like, here, internet fans, here's a thing for you to have fun with every week and translate our little secret messages. And the messages don't really mean anything or make any difference. I think there's other stuff that like in the show that are sort of similar to that. This is just the most obvious that, and it's literally just for fun.
Yeah, I think that there's only one instance of like that glyph or one of the commercial images like appearing in the show, and it's just to make Massive Dynamic look weird and shady.
Yeah.
Because there's one of the images is like this leaf with the symbol on it, and it appears in show one time, and that's all that it ever really matters.
This is what I love about it, is they are just for fun. It is a substitution cipher that if you replace each of the glyphs, it puts a letter into a word, and the word is just a word that relates to the episode. The person who broke it was an editor for Ars Technica and wrote this scathing blog about how it should be more complicated than that.
Wow.
And today, to my eyes, sorry, Julian, you look like an asshole, because I thought this was delightful. I thought this was really cute. I liked it.
Do you know anything about Gravity Falls, the animated show on Disney?
Tiny bit. Tiny.
Just a little bit.
It's really fun. If you like animated shows, I highly recommend you check it out. There are only a couple of seasons, but it's really worth it. In the first season, like, the creator Alex Hirsch did a lot of work to set up all of these mysteries that people online could solve, just like for fun, because he thought it was neat and to get people in. The people involved in the little mysteries and stuff went so crazy for all of the Gravity Falls like ciphers and everything. By the time season 2 rolled around, he put way less work into them because he knew that people were going to solve it immediately anyway. So why bother making it harder?
So funny.
I think it's fun to do things that are just for fun. I don't fold the back of a Mad magazine to find the lost treasure of El Dorado. I do it so I can read about it.
And I love that. And it's also like, I don't know, if you put like actual like important narrative things in this, like that would be shitty. Like that would be so annoying if it's like, oh, you didn't understand this reveal. Well, if you translated the glyphs all season, you would have understood why this twist happened. It's like, that'd be stupid. Like, no.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's fine to just be for fun.
Yeah. I things like that, in my opinion, you can't have that be required to understand what's going on. Additional information, great, super fun. I love to see it. If I need to do homework to understand your show or whatever, I'm not gonna have a good time.
Yep.
Well, we are going to have a good time because we're coming back from commercial break.
So sorry.
To Rachel's apartment. No, I'm here for it. I love a good segue. We're back in Rachel's apartment, and Broyles is explaining that the scene is inscrutable to him. There are no fingerprints, and they can't even identify the weapon that was used to take out Rachel's heart.
But one thing we both know, Dunham, death seems to follow you around.
What you saying there, Chief?
I'm saying I want you as far away as possible.
Just when my interest is piqued.
Keep nosing around, and you and your interest can spend some time downtown as a guest at a steak.
Well, 3 hot meals and a bed. It's tempting, but I think I'll pass.
I'm serious, Dunham. Time to leave things to the big boys.
Okay, you win.
He tells Olivia to leave, and as she does, she grabs a day planner on her way out of the apartment.
I think this scene is like literally the only time in the whole show that there's sexual tension between Broyles and Olivia, I feel like.
Yeah, it was weird to watch.
Yeah.
I did not pick up on this. I apologize. I again, it was probably just fedoras. Is what you probably were both seeing.
It's like, it's interesting because like, I do like the idea that like, you know, noirs are often like kind of very steamy and
sexy,
like, you know, there's sexual undertones to them, even if they're not actually explicitly sexual. And so I understand like maybe implanting some of that in this. There's just something about Olivia and Broyles, and maybe it's just because of the way their relationship has been established. Like it is in the context of the show, they're so squarely boss and like, and employee, essentially. Like they have a close relationship, but like it is still a very professional relationship. So like just to see these two, like I don't know that I don't see that sort of chemistry between them, even though they're both two extremely hot people in fedoras. I don't know that I see the chemistry between them in this, and it's just sort of weird.
Well, and I think why I'm missing it as well to both of you is that this is not actually a trope that exists in the noir space, because both of these would be men, and it would be a time when gay love wasn't told in these stories. And so the hard-boiled detective falling in love with the lieutenant wouldn't happen. These are buddies. The detective falls in love with his assistant because she's Girl Friday who's answering the phones, and we do get that later. So
we do. It's great.
Yeah.
But the two of them just talking, they have this chemistry that is just really interesting because you never really see it between them again. I mean, you could read it as sexual, you could not. Either way, it's just different enough that it catches my eyes and like, I wonder what's going on there. Oh, well, we never see him again, so it's not important. But
he's gone. That was a wrap on Broyles.
I think it's worth noting that like, as you pointed out, David, usually this noir character that Olivia is playing is a man. And it's obviously very obvious, very simple. Whoa, fun gender swap. But like, I do think that I always found the show kind of interesting because I feel like Olivia and Peter do play the opposite of what you normally get from a man and woman pairing in a show like this, where Olivia is playing the more like in the show and in this episode is like the hard-boiled, like kind of like not emotionless, but like perfectly suppressing emotions. Like she even deals with like I need to have fear more often and stuff in certain episodes, like more stoic action hero. And Peter is very much more like the heart and the brains, like the victim a lot more than Olivia is, like I think it's really interesting to see them sort of not to be gender binary about it, but sort of like flipping the typical masculine and feminine roles. And so it makes a lot of sense, but it's also really fun to still see them carrying that with Olivia in this context in this as well, where she is still like, she talks like the leaving a dame with a broken heart kind of noir speak, she still talks like that. She's still like a hard drinker. She still has the same like fedora, like, open shirt, suspenders outfit. Like they still like let her be like a masculine noir detective in a way that I feel like other sort of gender swap noir things I've seen like still make their woman detective like more womanly than they need to. So it's fun that Olivia gets to play gets to play in that space in this.
For sure. I really love the way that Olivia is dressed in this episode because again, like the way that she wears those suits is so incredible. It's just really fun. And I think that Peter Bishop makes such a fun femme fatale aspect. And he also looks great in his suits. I just think that it's the costuming department popped off on this, and I really want to thank them.
Yes, absolutely.
I do love now that Derek's given us this like background around the Fox Rocks thing, that somebody came in and was like, you have to make this a musical. And there was this poor, sad production assistant who was like, I bought all these fedoras. And they're like, don't worry. It's all staying in.
Yeah. Can we actually go back a little bit to the check that Olivia... So Olivia finds in Rachel's day planner, of course her real name's not Rachel, but that's not neither here nor there. She finds a check that's like from Dr. Walter Bishop. He signs his name Doctor, by the way.
Nice.
And I was looking because I was interested because of the anachronistic nature of the whole noir. I was wondering if they had a date on the check to see when it's supposed to be, and it does not. This check is not legal because there is no year on it.
So funny.
But the check is signed April 29th. Again, no year. And it is for $200. So if this is like supposed to be in the 30s, that's quite a lot of money for like a single day of work. But if not, then I do hope like that was just like the deposit, babe, because $200 is not worth your life.
April 29th, of course, the date of the episode airing. So good catch for production on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun. Yeah.
Good
this
eye,
is also
Merrilee.
the 138th check out of her checkbook.
Okay. Is that number? I wonder. It would be cool if that number was significant. But
it probably isn't. But it, like that's how they like will number checks. That's the number at the top is like 138.
It's a nod to the 138th episode spectacular from The Simpsons. So I have to.
Okay.
I have to
Yep,
say
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
That's what
So many parallels there.
to me.
Oh yeah, good call though. I would have never even thought to look for the date. They probably were very conscious about avoiding dates
an actual
for this.
day.
Yeah. If this is season 2, the second half, it probably came out in 2010. So it's $200 is, it's an okay amount of money. I really hope that was the first installment, if that is supposed to be 2010 money.
Yeah, right. So we see Olivia using a check she finds in the day planner to hunt down Walter. This is where we meet Walter. Walter is an inventor of everything that is wonderful in the world. He invented hugs and bubblegum and rainbows. It's like the most like broadly fairy tale part of all of this, right? He also invented singing corpses.
I've spent my life inventing things that bring joy and happiness to make the world a better place. Bubblegum was one of my first. Flannel pajamas. Rainbows. And my latest project, singing corpses.
2, 3, 4. Who can take a sunrise?
Who can take a sunrise?
Sprinkle it with dew.
Sprinkle it with dew.
Cover it with chocolate and a miracle or two. The Candyman.
The Candyman can, 'cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Why not bring a little life to the dead, I say? The harmonies are still a bit off.
These singing corpses.
Oh my
the
God.
makeup on their scarring is so good. First of all, it's so gross, but it's so good, and it's just like that. I feel like that's straight up the. We got some weird stuff after this, but like that is kind of the weirdest part of this episode.
Yes.
And I love that like Anna Torv plays this as just sort of like, huh, that's a little odd.
Yes.
Like nobody thinks that it's that. Like everybody plays all this stuff so straight. She barely reacts to that. It is so funny.
My handwritten notes were that she reacts the same way I would if I walked into your home and you had a big mouth bass that sang to me when I came in, because that's what these are. That's all they are. They're motion activated. They sing their little song and then they go back to normal.
I'm surprised that didn't get a bigger reaction from Astrid and Ella, because really, truly, singing corpses, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point. I do think a cut to Ella, maybe even just like a quick cut Ella eye roll would have done it for, I would have just screamed.
Yeah.
That it would be even too improbable for a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because they do have a couple of points in this episode where they do have some very funny cuts to Ella's face, like watching Walter. Like I think when he first sings, that cut to her just like staring at him like, you're the dumbest man I've ever met in my life. Like it's so funny. Like she's so good at that. Like, yeah, one more of those would have been great.
But among the inventions we learn from Walter is a glass heart, but Peter stole it and it has a power source, and that power source is what's been keeping Walter alive.
Walter shows off his chest.
Yeah,
in
that
this,
was
right?
that was nice effect.
Cool.
Every time we see a chest,
Cool
it's actually
effect.
awesome.
So cool.
We see it with Rachel, we see it with Walter, and then later we'll see it with Peter.
I do think it's fun to note, like on repeat viewings, when Walter opens up his chest, it's like there's plain, there's no like ornamentation, as opposed to Peter's. When he opens up his shirt, you see like this beautiful like wrought iron, more of the period kind of doors. But his is much more industrial. And I like to think it has something to do with the fact that Peter was born with his glass heart, so he has like a much better like setting for it, whereas Walter took it and was just using it for, I don't know how he cut his chest open for the hole, but it's much weird, like more industrial looking than Peter's ends up being.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good pull. I didn't even think about that. You're so right. I love that shit. And it really is just like very weird that he just opens up his chest. It just has some D batteries in there powering his body with a bunch of wires inside of his body.
I don't know why he would need, like, why his physiology is like, also I could take a glass heart to keep living, I guess. As if Peter's is the only one, but Okay, sure.
Sure. I mean, logic in the story, not really there.
You
And
don't
that's
need
what
it.
makes
You
it
don't
so
need it.
fun.
'Cause
It's
for
one
a
of those
child.
things where I'm only asking about it because I have definitely seen this episode like 6 times in the last 3 days. So
Right.
Well, the scene switches over to an asylum, and Astrid, who is named Esther in this, and we're going to talk about
Esther Figglesworth. Ugh.
Esther Figglesworth is interviewing for a job, and she begins to sing.
I have plenty of experience with all kinds of people. I'm sure that would come in handy, right? I mean, mental patients probably need tons of patience. And love, too. They probably need love, right? I really need this job. Please, God, I need this job. I've got to get this job. I'm sorry, excuse me. Oh, it's my old boss now. Can you give me just a second? She only calls when it's important or when she gets lost. What do you want?
New case. I need you.
You sent me packing this morning and you owe me 6 months back pay. What makes you think I'm gonna drop everything just because you call?
Because it's important, and because that's just the kind of girl you are.
The song is I Hope I Get It from the chorus line, a chorus line. But her song is interrupted by her cell phone going off, and it's Olivia calling to rehire her. But then, on the other end of the phone, Olivia is attacked.
Olivia also not paying Esther for 6 months. Unacceptable behavior, Olivia.
Yeah, what the fuck, Olivia? Jeez.
Okay, well, that's what hardboiled detectives do, is they don't pay My Girl Friday, and then she's got genuine beef with him, and then he has to earn it back. It is tropey to tropey to tropey. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that it is Astrid and Olivia in those roles. It's so fun. Yeah, and I mean, obviously we talked about the name thing with Jessica and Nicole that was going on. So like the Esther joke is funny, like was funny, and now it's like feels kind of gross now. But what's also interesting is that like Jessica Nicole is actually, I think they said one of this cast that sings in this episode is like probably the most had the most experience in singing. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna see it because when she sings, she's
so
really
good.
fucking good. Despite that, she almost didn't get a song in this episode. It was it was actually an afterthought. It was only after like they read the script and she had no musical sequence at all, despite having a background in musical theater. And she emailed Jack Pinkner and was like, "Hey, buddy, can I please just sing a little bit?" And so they gave her this specifically for that. She had a quote where she was like, "I have a musical theater background, so I've been waiting for some moment in some realm of where I'm in TV and film for this to happen." And, of course, when Glee came on the air, I was like, well, great, that was my chance. And I'm in this show, which I love this show, but I'm never going to sing and dance in this show. And then this episode happened, and it was awesome.
Great.
So,
can I just say, I didn't know the history. I didn't Google where the songs came from. I should have realized that it was like from a thing. All I can say is every time I hear Esther sing, "I need this job, please God give me this job," all I can think is mood, bestie. Like we've all been there.
Wow. I highly recommend that you enjoy a chorus line at some point in time.
I will
Merrilee,
do so.
because
Yes.
It's kind of what the play's about.
oh boy.
Kinda.
Yeah. I also love that, like, even though, she stops singing when her phone rings, her like, "I'm sorry, excuse me," that she says to the the interviewer, like she kind of is still partially singing that a little bit. Like she's coming out of her song and into like dialogue. It's so good.
Well, we go back to Olivia's office, and Esther is there helping her. They discuss the weapon, and Olivia recognizes the wound. It's the wound that killed Rachel. And so now that they've got evidence of that, they can do a little bit more investigating. This was the scene in which there is robust sensuality between these two characters.
I'm sorry. Does it hurt?
Oh, no. It feels great, actually. Please keep doing it.
I can't believe you got sucked back into business over true love. That's your problem, isn't it? You're always looking for something that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, that's not true. I'm not looking for someone who's gonna give his heart to the world. I mean, somewhere in the universe there's got to be a guy who'll keep me warm when I'm cold, feed me when I'm hungry, maybe, on occasion, take me dancing.
Huh. That's odd. It looks like it's healing.
Every time the two of them talk, there's just a little something, but this scene is really filled with some delicious tension between the two of them.
I mean, she's literally dressing Olivia's wounds on her open shirt,
Yes,
you know.
she is. Yes, she
Can't
is.
get any more steamy than that, can you? But I mean, the counter to that, the unfortunate straightness of this is that is also happening while Olivia's talking about, like, you know, the type of guy that she wants. But I do think, you know, it comes back later in the episode because, like, her whole deal is like, I don't need a guy who's going to give his heart to the world. I just basically need someone who's going to care for me in the simplest of terms. Just like, you know, take me dancing, give me a warm meal, stuff like that. And I feel like that could be something that's kind of a reflection on real life Olivia and her views on love and maybe her relationship with Peter a little bit.
Yeah, I really have always loved the way that she just said specifically, I want somebody to keep me warm. I want someone who'll feed me when I'm hungry, and sometimes take me dancing. And I think that is very much the core of what Olivia wants. She needs somebody who will be with her, and like to take care of her needs, as well as every now and then help her do something a little bit more fun. And I think that's really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, you know, I don't know. I think that the quote works for the relationships that are going on in the show, and I can totally endorse that. I've also read enough letters between lesbians in which they have described their perfect man while actually describing the person they're writing a letter to. So I just want to again say these two are queer. It's very queer. It's excellent.
Those things do also apply to Esther, specifically in this moment. So just saying.
Yeah, this is the moment. But I wanted it, and I took it, and it's mine. It's perfect.
Oh my God. Well, anyway, we cut to an analyst's office where Olivia is taking a drawing of the weapon to this analyst, Brandon, who confirms it's from Massive Dynamic. So, of course, she heads right on over to Massive Dynamic, confronts Nina in her office about the weapon, and Nina's like being all weird about it, and it's like, well, the quantum laser was stolen by the Watchers, Dunham. Here's the clues.
The device was developed here in our biomedical research lab. It was designed as a surgical tool. Several months ago, one of our prototypes was stolen. But tell me, this man who attacked you, was he bald, with an odd cadence to his voice?
Who is he?
Not he, they. We call them the Watchers. These people are dangerous, and they don't make idle threats. You should know what you're getting into, Miss Dunham.
You know, just that I looked up this Brandon guy expecting him to be a bigger member of the cast, and he appears sometimes, so I guess this was just sort of a fun insert. He's not main.
No, he's a fun reoccurring role. You see a lot of him throughout the show. My thing is, you do see more of the observers or watchers later in the show, but in this scene, the first time I watched it through again after years, the way that Nina Sharp says, not he, they, I was like, oh, pronouns for the observers? Okay, baby. All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had the same thought.
Really?
Yeah.
I did. I took it as a plural reference. Is it a pronoun reference?
No, it's just that there are more
I
of
love
them,
the world y'all are living
but
in.
I would like he's not named yet, but that particular observer who is in this episode referred to as Mr. Gemini ends up being named September. And you actually see a lot of stuff having to do with him, and he never really uses plural pronouns again. He's always he, hims, but
shame. In
that one moment, my heart was like, this is everything that I wanted. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Well, Olivia doesn't take Nina's story to heart and instead follows Nina home. In Nina's house, Nina is speaking to Massive Dynamics CEO William Bell.
What is it?
I found it.
The glass heart.
You were right. Peter Bishop has it.
So where is he? Where's the boy?
We don't know yet, but we'll find him.
Hell, that's fabulous news. Well done, Nina. I knew you could do it.
William, I've been going out of my mind.
By utilizing the heart's power, we'll be able to create a stable door between universes.
And after all this time, we can finally be together again.
I know, my love.
But before Olivia can learn more, she gets attacked and knocked unconscious.
2 things. So sorry. I keep
You've all got
interrupting.
things.
I have so many things to say.
I have a whole list of things just from like these couple of beats.
Okay, God.
Too, so yeah, go
I
for
just
it.
wanted to throw out there that the way that Olivia tails Nina is so fun and so classically noir. Like, it really shows
very
like
noir.
somebody was doing their homework, and Walter really meant it when he was like, yeah, my mom would always tell me these noir stories, because it was just, she knocked out one of the tail lights on the back of her car. And you see that all of the time in noir stories, where you'll then be able to follow the one car with one tail light. And I think that's such a fun little thing that they included. I love that.
Yeah, I agree. I love that too. And because I don't think I remember noticing that before until a close watch. And it's like, oh, that's such a good detail. That's such a noir-y thing. And then that on top of when Olivia's in the car, they do the classic like rear projection technique on the windows for the other cars. But what I love it is that it gives the look, obviously, of an old school, 30s, 40s noir, but on the projection, it is like modern cars if you're looking closely enough. So it's still like images of modern
cool.
stuff in the rear projection, and she's also using a cell phone, so like the contrast of all of those images together is so fun, and like such a good distillation of like the weird anachronism of this episode.
It's delightful.
Well, is no one gonna say Leonard Nimoy? Because I'll let that be my thing. Hey friends, didn't see this one coming. All of a sudden I hear Leonard Nimoy, and I went, oh my God, this show has everything.
Yeah,
he's in it.
He is
Quite a bit.
not visually in it. And Derek, I think you know why.
Okay, it's a thing that the show deals with pretty frequently. They have Leonard Nimoy playing William Bell, who's a big part of the show, but Leonard Nimoy often isn't available.
Yeah.
So there's many, many times throughout this show that they have to do something a little bit creative to work around him not being available, even though I think Nimoy is gung-ho to be involved, so they never want to like recast him or whatever. So in this case, like they had Frank Miller, the like very famous cartoonist, like design an animated version of him. They had a special effects school that was like local, I think, create an animated version of Nimoy's head. And then Nimoy did just like record some voice work. Even though he couldn't come on set, he could go to the booth after the fact. And so they just have an animated version of Leonard Nimoy, which like in any other episode would just be like, what the hell is this?
It works.
Except for the episode that is literally an animated episode. But in this one, it makes sense because it's all, it's all a weird dream story fairy tale anyway. So it's like, oh, it just looks like a weird dream-like futuristic thing. And I think Nina is even talking to him in the window prop that they used previously in the Peter episode where they would peer into the alternate universe.
It is the same one.
Yeah. So
it is. Yeah.
I just want to say, why wasn't Leonard Nimoy available? Probably because he was recording his voice lines for Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, which was happening at this exact time in the production schedule.
Was it really?
Oh my God.
I looked up to see what other projects he was working on, and this was the predominant use of his time. So the sound booth probably wasn't far away, Derek.
Kingdom Hearts. That is amazing.
He's really good in Kingdom Hearts. I am not gonna lie.
Okay. That is a misuse of talent.
No, okay, listen. All right, so I know you've stumbled into my trap card. I get to talk about Kingdom Hearts now.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
So Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep is a weird one. It's not as weird as Birth by Sleep happened. People thought that was going to be like the third one, so people were really ramped up. But it's actually like a prequel series that happened a long time ago, and it's got one of the main bad guys is in it, who gets frequently recast because unfortunately the lead actor does not live to see a return performance. But the bad guy, the other main character who is like best friends with Xemnas, is played by Mark Hamill, by the way. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no,
Fun.
this Kingdom Hearts has way better voice actors than you think. It's got Haley Joel Osment plays the main character Sora, who plays throughout. It has, I forget her name, but the cheerleader from Heroes is Kairi.
Oh, Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah. She plays Kyrie for the first two, and then after that she leaves because Kyrie never gets to do anything, and she has better things to do with her time, which I respect. Even though I really thought she did a lot to the role. Like, Jesse McCartney is in it. He plays Roxas, as well as another character in Birth by Sleep.
Ventus?
Yes. The Ventus and Vanitas are the two ones that I can never remember which one's which. I'm going to stop talking about this now, but I need you to know that the voice talent in Kingdom Hearts is stacked.
Yeah, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, but it is one of those things where it's like, I think that if I dove into it, I think I would really enjoy it.
You would. I promise.
I have to protect
I think
Derek.
I really
I have
would.
to protect Derek.
I know that it's. I mean, I know how like absurd it is, and all the jokes about how confusing.
Okay, it's not
lore and
confusing.
continuity
I
is.
promise it's not that confusing.
The
There's
two
just
of
a
you
lot
have
of
watched
it.
Fringe. I don't accept this based on this conversation. I believe that you can pick up a story that is made for children.
It's again, it's not confusing. There's just a lot of pieces. And all of them are important. And if you just follow it, it's all fine. It all makes perfect sense.
Okay. I believe you. One day I will. I think if they ever do a package of like all of them.
Guess what? They do.
Oh, wait, does that exist?
That
Oh,
exists.
boy.
For sure it does.
Maybe I'll wait for a remaster
that
of all of them
exists
or something.
You know what? You don't
God,
need to wait
stop.
for me to tell you about the next scene of this episode of Fringe.
I'm so sorry. I keep going off track, guys.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. Olivia wakes up from her unconscious knocking out of, and she is on a ship. We get a quick confrontation from Nina where she's being disaster by sexual evil. She is put... That's what that's called. She's put in a pine box. It's sealed, and she is thrown overboard. Things are looking
Terrifying.
bad. It's this is a fear of mine.
Yeah,
it's so scary.
It's awful.
And they even have like the cell phone, which like if they never had her pull out the cell phone, I would have accepted it because it's like a noir. But the fact that they still include her pulling out a cell phone that has no signal for some reason, it's funny, but also even scarier. You know?
Yeah, because it's like that glimpse of hope, and then the hope is pulled away.
Yeah.
Luckily, all hope is not lost for our heroine because she is rescued at the last minute by Peter, and that takes us to commercial.
I do just want to say, again, as somebody who's watched the episode 6 times in 3 days, I do think Nina and Mr. Gemini do a horrible job of trying to kill Olivia here, because as terrifying as it is, I do just want to note that box is fully floating and she's totally fine. Olivia is scared, obviously, and she talks about how Peter saved her from drowning, but like there is no weight added to that at all.
It's so true.
She would have.
That's a good take.
It would have not
It's
been
a
a
raft.
good time, and she maybe could have not been rescued and still had a horrible death. But like she was not going to drown. That was fully floating.
Wow.
It's so true. Like when Peter rescues her, like she's been in there for a while, and he's just like standing at the pier and just opens the door.
Okay, so
like it's like she's just sitting there floating, hasn't even floated away
He
yet.
has an inflatable boat. He came and got her, and like that's not a pier. It's all like he was just following the boat, and it was all right. But they put a little bit of work into it, but they did such a bad job of trying to kill her. I'm insulted.
It's so funny.
Well, but I will say it fits the trope of a noir. You've always got to have a little bit of a Rube Goldberg device to kill your hero. So
No, 100% tracks.
It does fit. But you're right.
Yeah.
They did a bad job.
Yeah. So we're at we're after this, Olivia is safe with Peter. She's just like taking a shower, so they're all chilling together, and they're kind of casually talking and getting to know each other a little bit.
You like jazz?
Jazz?
Miles, Duke, Louis, John Coltrane. You can tell a lot about a person from the music they listen to, and whether or not they dance.
Well, jazz, not so much, but dancing? Sure.
Well, I guess we're opposites. I hate to dance. I take you, though.
She looks at this map, and there's this like interesting sort of dynamic because I love how straight and committed everyone is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're not straight. They're not straight, but they're playing it straight. You know, how committed everyone is to like this fairy tale stuff they're talking about. Because Olivia is just sort of like, you know, Peter, if Walter doesn't get his glass heart back, all the good he's done in the world will disappear. And she's saying it like so seriously. And then Peter's like talking about like how like these licorice sticks actually come from stolen children's dreams. Because Walter's been stealing children's dreams.
147 pins. Each one represents a child injured by Walter Bishop.
Injured how?
Walter's invented a great many things. Wondrous things, that much is true. But what he didn't tell you is where his ideas come from. Elephants, rainbows, licorice sticks. They come from the dreams of children. He steals children's dreams, and he replaces them with nightmares. That's what this is. A pattern of destruction, of damaged kids. Shattered innocence.
Who else knows about this?
Nobody.
And like it's so absurd and they're so serious about it. And like we know it's a direct parallel to real life, but it is just so it's so fun how absurdly this is written to like the nth degree, and yet they are playing it like a normal, typical episode of Fringe, the way that they're talking about all of these things.
Fully serious.
We love commitment to the bit.
And all of that is a parallel, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea is that it's Peter's like, you know, I actually had the glass heart and Walter stole it from me. I was born with it and I needed to survive. And not only did he steal this glass heart, he's actually a horrible guy because all of those good things he created are because he stole children's dreams first. Obviously, that's a parallel to how Walter's feeling in real life. In the context of the show, and you didn't really know this, David, but I imagine you could probably pick up on some weird vibes of Walter's guilt that like in the backstory of the show, and it's something they delved into a lot, like very recently, you know, prior to this episode, was like that, like Walter did like pretty awful experiments on children, justified them with like, well, we're using them to like figure out the mysteries of the brain and develop superpowers and stuff. And like, one of my favorite episodes, Jacksonville, which I think is an underrated one because it comes right before a very famous episode, but I think that episode's really good. And one of the things it does really well is Olivia actually confronting like, no, Walter, you literally like experimented on children and like basically gave them nightmares like with your experiments and basically stole their dreams in the process of that. And this is like the most, you know, fairy tale version of that is how he's explaining it.
Yeah.
You know what's particularly interesting about that though, Derek, is that there was this vibe at the beginning of the episode where nobody wanted to leave Ella with Walter. Mm-hmm. And I just assumed that's because he was stoned out of his gourd. But if there's this layer on it that he's sort of been this bad guy or pliable ethics guy when it comes to children's safety, I could see how a caring aunt wouldn't want to leave a child in his care.
A spoiler alert, it's not just like caring aunt. Olivia was one of the children that he experimented on. Like this happened to her, and very specifically, this Walter is capable of that. In a later season, when the Walter from the other universe is trying to figure out like how Cortexiphan works, one of the massive dynamic people, the same scientist that we were talking about earlier who like reoccurs, says something along the lines of like, we think that we'll be able to get this. It was like the youngest test participant who was able to like hold on to it. If we go younger, we'll probably be able to get results. And Walternate specifically is like, no, I will never do that. It's just this Walter who is flexibly ethical is I think how you put it.
Yeah. It's it's a thing that I like about this show a lot. And I think why this episode is I think really useful is that I think it is unafraid to really really go really dark with this otherwise very lovable, fun, at times like comic relief character, but like unafraid to just be like, no, sometimes these people that seem very affable and fun and maybe later in life, you know, have like grown and changed, they can have done really horrible, awful things. And like, it is very complicated learning, figuring out what to do with that. And I think you really do get his perspective on like, yeah, he actually does agree with what everyone says. He does feel like he is an awful, terrible person for the things that he's done in his past. And he just doesn't really know how to process that or really deal with it.
Yeah. And then there, like very specifically, the pattern that is pointed out here is the same pattern that appears in the show that, spoilers again, that's the pattern of the events, like all of the Fringe events that are taking place throughout the first couple of seasons that have happened because Walter damaged the universe. He very specifically did that thing. Everything that happened, he is directly responsible for.
Yeah. This is an episode about like the man who probably has the most guilt of anyone on the planet.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, and it's his POV because he's the one who's telling the story. So, of course, some of that's seeping into all of this and informing the very, very, very thinly veiled metaphor of, the stolen heart and a father who steals children's dreams.
Yeah, and I do think that it's interesting now that we have Peter talking about things. If we want to like roll back to the first scene where Walter is in the show and he's talking about how Peter isn't related to him, but he thought of him as his son, which I think is a very interesting thing to point out in this story, because the reason why Peter isn't here is because he very recently found out that Walter isn't his father. He is from the alternate universe. And so this is not his son. He does think of him as his kid, but that's not how the relationship is. And I think that like very specifically Walter dealing with that in this way is a little interesting because he is still trying to process that.
Yeah, I think they do a good job with tying all of those things and really deepening what's happening in this episode in like every, all the stuff with Peter and Walter.
I just think that
have like a good parallel to real life.
Yeah, for real. Like the writing in this episode is so smart and so layered. And I just think that it's such a cool like triumph of like layering stories because again, it's a noir, it's a musical, it's a fairy tale, it's dealing with very real subtext about the things that are going on while also having to deal with Walter's self-image and like his guilt deserved around all of these things. I just think that it's such rich storytelling, and also they're singing corpses.
Exactly.
Well, and we do get a big action set piece here in the scene because there's a raid on the house that Peter's staying in. And in the fight, Peter's heart gets stolen and he begins to die.
Oops. So we have this whole sequence of Olivia basically playing like reverse Operation on Peter, which is funny because they literally played Operation at the beginning of the episode in real life. But she's like putting batteries into Peter's chest to like, keep him alive. And then, they're talking and it's, really nice and they're connecting. And then she finishes, but then he's unresponsive and it looks like he dies.
It must be nice to know who you are. To know your place in the world.
So what about you?
Oh, I thought I did. I thought I knew who I was. But I was wrong.
Done. Peter? 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 Please, Peter. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. Someone I've needed so long. For once, unafraid, I can go where life leads me. And somehow I know I'll be strong. For once in my life, I won't let sorrow hurt me. Not like it's hurt me before. For once, I have something I know won't desert me. I'm not alone anymore.
which prompts her to sing her song, which is a somber version of For Once in My Life by Stevie Wonder to him. And of course, through the magic of song and fairy tales, he wakes up.
It's a really lovely scene, and
it is a lovely scene.
I think it's really nice. I think it's a great use of Peter and Olivia's dynamic, and I just want to call out right before Olivia goes to like fix his heart with the makeshift batteries. Peter says that he knew that Olivia was a good dancer, and I just think that's such a great little callback to the conversation that they had earlier, and B, a fun little noir thing where sometimes fights are called dances, and I just love that moment is included.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's so smart. Because the dancing thing has definitely been like an ongoing thing with Olivia. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Also, Anna Torv, apparently she was like super nervous about singing, and then like she came into the recording booth and they were like, "Why are you nervous? You're like really good." And she is really
She's
good.
great.
She's really good.
And it's honestly like it's hard because she's not belting this song, which I think is what she's doing is I think more challenging than a lot of other musical performances often are, because she is doing this like very kind of quiet. She still has to sing kind of quietly, and like it's very coming from this sort of deep well of sorrow, and play that and convey that, and that's harder than just belting out, I think, than just belting out a song, especially when you're not a super experienced singer, it seems like. So yeah, A+.
Her performance through this song is really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and again, I made this is not a video podcast, so none of you can see that earlier when Derek mentioned that people were upset about her acting being wooden. This is the lens that I have for this, and she fucking kills it in this scene.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's wild how wrong people were about Anna Torv. It's absurd.
God,
so wrong.
It's so sad that all of those people had COVID years before it existed, because they just have no sense of taste.
Oh my God. Wow. Topical burn. I love that.
Is it topical? It's 2023. Nobody ever talks about it being a thing anymore.
Yeah, I think COVID's with us for a while longer.
Oh, for sure.
Well, we take the action back to Walter's lab because Olivia and Peter go to confront him. They take back the heart, and he attempts to curry their favor by asking for forgiveness.
I never meant to hurt anyone. I can change, you see. I can make up for all the harm I've done. Peter, please. Who can take a sunrise, sprinkle it with dew? The Candy Man can. Peter, please.
It's too late, Walter. There's some things you can't undo.
But it's too late. They leave him to die. Ella points out that this isn't how the story should end, and she pitches an alternative ending. Instead, Peter splits the heart in two, and they all live happily ever after.
Are you kidding? That's not a proper ending. Don't you know all good stories start with once upon a time, and they end with happily ever after? You don't know how to tell stories, Uncle Walter. I'll tell you how the story ends.
Peter, please. I can change. I can fix the damage I've done. Please give me another chance.
And Peter looked inside Walter's eyes and realized there was still goodness inside him. So Peter took his special heart, and with all his might, he split it in two. And the heart was so magical that it still worked.
It's really interesting. I mean, it's sort of like, I feel like the way that this all, the sort of concept of it is like Walter almost needed sort of like, I don't know, the sort of like the simple naivete of a child to like make him see that like sometimes nice things can happen. And like, there's not really anything more than that, you know? It's just sort of like, no, why does it have to be like, yeah, I know you told me this like dark story and like noirs often end with have bleak endings and stuff. But like, what if it didn't? I can just have a happy ending. Why not? And then she's just like, here's your happy ending. There you go. Everything's fine. And it's like, like it's almost like for the first time, it's like there's this, this little bit of hope that it's like everything seems really bleak now, but I guess like weirder shit has happened. You can't just have a happy ending out of nowhere. That is possible, And I don't know, I find the simplicity of that kind of really beautiful. Actually.
I liked it. Yeah.
I agree. I just think that the way that when she says that this is how the story ends, it makes absolute total sense in universe. Like there was no way it could have ended any other way.
Right.
Like hearts are meant to be shared after all. I just love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
I think particularly between a father and a son as well. Like there's I think this works on a lot of different levels. I love that it is the purity of a child who brings that forward, and it cuts through the noir, which was really an invention of Walter's and his parents' obsession with it. Because in a noir, you would have an anti-hero do this sort of thing at the end and let somebody die who had done wrong because that's the justice that they deserve. But instead, that the more fairy tale version, which is brought forth by Ella, is the prevailing story that gets told.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the real ending of this episode. There's like one other extra thing that happens that's really just set up for the next one, because it's like, oh, there's an observer is watching Astrid and Walter and he says some stuff. It really doesn't matter for the context of this episode. That's more set up for the future. Which is fine. Really, I feel like the note that we are meant to leave off on is what we were just talking about. Right. It's this idea that like Walter Walter could potentially find space to forgive himself, or if not, at least have hope that things can get better and maybe, things will work out with him and Peter, even if he doesn't really know how that's going to happen. And that's kind of exactly what he needed in this moment of like a deep grief and depression that he'd been in.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else? I mean, we really have done the work on this one. Is there anything else we need to talk about for this episode, Brown Betty of Fringe?
I have a very dumb observation. Would you like to hear it?
Love it. Yeah, of course.
Please.
Fringe is a little notorious sometimes with some really obvious product placement. And it gets a little wilder in later seasons because they're trying to find like funding for the show, and in this episode you even have a little bit of that where they like call out specifically that it's not like Twizzlers that he's eating, he eats red vines.
Oh yeah.
But then when Astrid is like very obviously setting things up right before the story begins, where like she has a Gatorade bottle that's obviously a Gatorade bottle, if you look, it actually has a fake brand on it. It's not Gatorade. It's lemon lime soda drop.
Nice.
Yeah, and I just it's so obviously facing the camera, and it's just to let you know, hey, Gatorade didn't pay us any money here. Right. But that's what it is.
Right.
That is so funny.
It's just one of the things that it gave me a little chuckle because it's they have a lot of different brand product stuff, but not this one, even though it's obviously a Gatorade because he's on drugs and he needs to be hydrated.
Right.
And noticing that stuff is actually like a delight of, I think, the television viewing experience. So I totally get that, Merrilee. And I am 100% on board with you. I love finding things like that.
Again, I probably wouldn't have noticed it if I hadn't watched it 6 times in 3 days. But sometimes you just watch a thing obsessively to get ready for a podcast because you're like, I have to find cool things to talk about with cool people on a podcast. And you're like, oh, hey, look at that dumb little detail no other person would ever notice.
You nailed it. Look,
you really did.
We wouldn't have gone on a Kingdom Hearts tangent if you weren't here. So.
Well, again, I do think that one, David,
it.
really should put yourself a pat on the back, because that one I wouldn't have brought up Kingdom Hearts, even though Leonard Nimoy is incredible.
I'll remember that. It'll come up in my Gimmicks performance review, I'm certain. But Merrilee, whether it's Kingdom Hearts, Fringe, or anything else you've got going on, where can folks find you online?
I am such a lame guest here because I don't really have anything to promote. You can find me or not. I have no preference on that matter. My Twitter is dead. I have left the platform. I don't think that I tried to delete the account, but I don't think that took. However, I had to reset my password in order to delete it, and I don't remember what the new password is, so I don't think I could get access to it anymore if I wanted to.
Wow.
I have a Bluesky account and a Instagram. If you want pictures of my cats, you can find me there, I guess. But I don't even have like a podcast or anything to promote. I keep trying to start one, and I would love to do one, but all of my co-hosts are like, hey, actually, I am too busy to do this. And I'm like, that's fair. You have very busy lives. And I can't do a podcast myself because I will drive myself crazy. So yeah, I'm just here, friends. You can find me on Gimmicks. It's a great podcast, and I do recommend you listen to it.
Yeah. Well, if you ever are able to get a podcast off the ground, it'll definitely be delightful.
Yeah.
And I very much encourage you to do it if you're ever able to, for sure, because it would be
I would
great.
love to. I would love to. I just need somebody who will actually commit to really doing one with me.
Oh, it's very hard. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest parts.
I know it. And up until that point, I am just so happy to be able to listen and sometimes appear in magically. I don't know how this keeps happening. One of my favorite podcasts, Gimmicks. You should check it out. I think also a show you should check out is one called Screonk. It's all about Godzilla. It's super fun. I like it a lot.
That's a great segue. Derek, where can folks find you a little bit more often on this beautiful wide internet that we have?
Sure. I am unfortunately still fairly active on Twitter at Derek B. Gale. We'll see how long that lasts. But I'm at Derek B. Gale there. You can find me on other platforms, either under that name or Dare Bear, Mr. Dare Bear. You can also find my other podcasts, Walloping Web Snappers, which is a Spider-Man podcast where my co-host Doug and I do deep dives into every Spider-Man cartoon ever made. Merrilee has been on at least one episode, maybe more than one. I don't remember.
No, just the one.
Just the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very fun one.
I had a great time.
Yeah, so did we. That was one of my favorite ones that we've done from the 60s show, like bar none for sure.
There's a giant kaiju who eats all the metal in New York and also witches. It's What's Not to Love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good. It's
Sounds
so
perfect.
Good. And Merrilee actually plugged it for me, but I also do Screonk with Doug as well, where we stomp through all the Godzilla movies. And you can find both those podcasts anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find me on Twitch at Mr. Dare Bear, where I sometimes, when I'm available, will stream VHS recordings of old television airings with the original commercials. What about you, David?
Ooh, you can find me on most social media platforms as Dmuma. That's DMUMA. And I also host a podcast called Are You My Mother, where we look at mothers in media to explore how we view mothers and how media portrayals might inform the way in which we consider mothers in our lives. And you can find that online wherever you get podcasts.
Gimmicks is a proud part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. If you're looking for other queer media podcasts, check out the full roster of Glitterjaw shows at glitterjaw.com.
And if you want to support this show by giving us a little tip, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/gimmickspod. You can follow the podcast at gimmickspod on social media and email us your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmickspodcast@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe on all podcast platforms. And until next time, friends, keep being weird.
Bye.
Be careful, Stella. Jean, no licking, no licking.